Okay, Deputy Secretary, where to go?
Good afternoon and welcome. My name's Jennifer Pruitt. I'm the Deputy Cabinet Secretary at the New Mexico Environment Department. We are excited today to give you information about a joint effort involving new jobs for New Mexicans put together by the Environment Department, the Department of Workforce Solutions, and the New Mexico State Personnel Office. We're here today, and our goal is to give you as much information as possible about all these different jobs, how you apply for them, answer all the nuts and bolts questions about what's involved and what we need from our applicants to give you the information you need to decide that you want to come work for us. These jobs are important jobs to protect New Mexicans from the spread of COVID-19, but also help our New Mexico businesses and economy stay open. These positions and this work is a super high priority for Governor Lujan Grisham and for all the cabinet secretaries of our 3 departments. So we are going to be pushing this process very, very quickly. And our goal is to get some people in the door and working at the end of next week. This will be a state government miracle of efficiency. Department of Workforce Solutions has pulled in a federal grant and federal money from the Department of Labor to help displaced workers in New Mexico, people who have lost their jobs because of the pandemic. So applicants for these positions need to be people who are not currently working, who have lost their jobs because of the pandemic. And sadly, we know many New Mexicans are in that situation, and we want to help find jobs for some of those people. So we have a nice PowerPoint presentation for you. I'm going to turn the speaker baton over to a number of my staff to walk you through what positions are available, how you apply for them, and anything else you need to know. There is an opportunity for asking questions, and we hope some of you decide you want to join us in this important work. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary Pruitt. My name is Bob Genoway, and I'm the Chief of the Environment Department's OSHA Bureau. For those of you who don't know what OSHA does, our mission is simply this, to make sure that every employee in New Mexico has a healthy and safe place to work. I've worked for the OSHA Bureau here for 20 years, and I've seen countless numbers of different types of hazards and emergencies. Our state OSHA program has been involved with national emergencies, including 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina, and some emergencies in our own state. In my time with OSHA, I can say that New Mexico workers have never faced the kind of widespread hazard and danger presented by COVID-19. This is why we're here today. Our Bureau is taking a frontline approach to protecting workers from COVID-19. Our staff of 28 professionals, including inspectors, investigators, consultants, specialists, and support staff, are putting forth an incredible effort to try and prevent worker exposures. We're conducting investigations of hospitalizations and fatalities among workers related to COVID-19, complaints of worker exposure, and more recently, we've taken on an incredible mission to respond to every single workplace notification of positive employee COVID-19 cases. And our next effort is going to be to engage in a proactive program to test workers statewide, especially essential workers, but among all industries, to really get out in front of this virus and prevent its spread. This is an incredibly important mission, and we need additional staff to help us perform that mission. So we're looking for highly motivated, technical, skilled individuals to help us to prevent COVID spread statewide. 26 positions, 20 of those positions, technical positions that'll be right on the front line working with employers to help prevent the spread of COVID in the workplace, and an additional 6 workers to support those efforts. So we're going to go through some of the information about these positions and a little bit more detail on the specific work that will be involved with these positions and the support positions that go along with them. So as I said, our mission is to protect workers. It's part of the overall mission of the New Mexico Environment Department to foster a healthy and safe New Mexico for current and future generations. And we have a number of values that help us to support that mission. We believe in science, innovation, collaboration, and compliance, working with employers and pushing employers if necessary to ensure that they're complying with not only OSHA rules, but with state public health orders that will help to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Again, as I said, our Bureau's mission is to protect employees, to make sure that they have safe and healthy workplaces. And we want these employees to come in and share that vision, share that mission, and share those values with us. Let me talk about the primary positions, those 20 positions that I talked about that are technical positions. These positions are going to be classified as environmental scientists and specialist Bs, and that's B for basic position. And what we're looking for here are people with technical skills. These can be skills in education, in natural sciences, environmental sciences, healthcare. What we want are people that will be able to understand the nature of the virus and be able to explain to an employer why it's so important that we stop the spread, or at least control to the maximum extent possible the spread of the virus. Of course, there's a training that will come along with that, where we'll bring people in that have those basic skills to be able to build upon it to make sure that we're meeting our mission of preventing spread. Multiple positions statewide. These positions will, at least initially and for quite some period of time, be teleworking from home. We'll need internet connectivity, and we'll be provided with the equipment necessary to remotely work with employers one-on-one to make sure that we're engaging in two very key assignments that I'm going to talk about on the next slide. These are within the state system classified at pay band 65. These are temporary positions that are meant to, again, support this effort as the pandemic continues. We certainly hope to continue those positions as long as possible, but at the same time, our mission is to slow and stop the spread of this virus. And so the extent of time for these positions will be in concert with that effort and with the results that come out of that effort. It's important that we, as we hire these positions, these 20 positions, that we have people that are flexible with the hours. This work is a 7-day, every week job. So we'll be looking to stagger those schedules of people that are coming in to make sure that we can cover this activity, because it's important that every day that we're providing response to every positive case, because we need to, it's really important that we remove and isolate infected workers as quickly as possible. And so that daily activity is very important as we move forward. So what are the key elements that we are looking for as far as assignments when these environmental scientists and specialists come in to start working for us? Upon initial training and assignment of these duties, there are two very important aspects of the prevention of COVID and control of COVID spread that we're really focusing on for these positions. One is surveillance testing. This is proactive testing where we are reaching out to industry, to individual employers, both in those essential worker industries where we're right now seeing over the last several weeks quite a rise in spread of the virus, but also in other industries. We want to know where COVID is spreading in industry and how we can strategize to best control exposures in a real proactive way with employers. So this job task will really combine somebody's skills in technical background, in understanding how to describe for an employer the importance of getting ahead of and determining who in your workplace might be exposed for quick isolation, and also for measuring how the virus is spreading in the workforce. The other area that we're focusing on initially with these positions is, again, rapid response to each and every positive case of COVID among workers. So right now, the Department of Health is collecting. It's required that positive cases among all individuals are reported to the Department of Health. And for those cases that involve workers, Department of Health is then referring those to the Environment Department's OSHA program, so that we can immediately reach out to employers and make sure that those positive employees are immediately isolated, that any close contact workers to that positive case are also isolated, tested, that workplaces are properly disinfected, and that the employer has a system of prevention in place prior to resuming operations in that workplace. Workplaces will be required to cease operations either fully or to the extent necessary to make sure that employees are isolated that might potentially spread COVID, so that disinfection can take place and the workplace is safe before workers come back in to resume operations. So it's important, again, that this work is being performed every single day of the week on a rotational basis for the workers that we want to bring in and do this work. And it's important that those people that we're bringing in to perform this work have a basic understanding of some of the scientific background of how workplace biological hazards might be spread, so that we can make sure that employers are given that kind of knowledge, at least at the level necessary, so that they understand the importance of what we're doing, that we're not trying to negatively impact their business, but rather we're actually trying to make sure that they can continue to operate, because if that spread is not controlled right away, the potential for that business having to shut down because of an outbreak is actually even potentially has a greater effect on them than that initial isolation and short-term ceasing of operations to make sure that the workplace is safe. Again, I'm going to focus heavily on this position because it's the technical position that we really need people that are motivated and can help employers to understand the importance of stopping the spread of this virus. Go through several of our support positions that are meant to really provide the backup to that hands-on work that those environmental scientists and specialists will be doing one-on-one with employers. So we have a handful of positions that will be reporting through our current structures support and operations section that will be headed by a management analyst supervisor position. Now this position will really be that kind of critical in between for our technical staff and the rest of our support staff in providing the financial support that's necessary, making sure that our reporting requirements back to Workforce Solutions through the grant that will be funding these positions is reported properly, that that expenditures are made appropriately, that that information that's collected as we start to do this surveillance effort and collect data to target our future prevention efforts is done in a statistically significant and sound way to make sure that all of our efforts, both on the positive case side and on the surveillance side, are acting in concert, analyzing data, reporting information back to management so that we can change as we go. As we all know, over the last 4 months of this pandemic, there have been a number of different different changes as far as businesses opening, businesses being required to cease operation for periods of time, that we have somebody that can really move quickly on their feet to recommend, to analyze and recommend changes to management on how we can most effectively utilize our resources through this entire project. Reporting to that management analyst supervisor position will be several other support positions. One, management analyst advanced position. This position, again, will support the analytical side of what we're trying to achieve mission-wise in planning, prevention, surveillance goals, setting up goals and activities to meet our mission-critical requirements as we go through this process and really try and wind down the virus transmission in the state. Both the management analyst supervisor and analyst advanced positions, again, both temporary positions. All of these positions are temporary and will flow right along with the course of this pandemic as we try and wind it down. Again, with all these positions, the location will have some flexibility. It needs to, of course, be able to report to that management analyst supervisor position. This one is a pay band 65. With some flexibility needed in scheduling, initially we'll be looking at a more regular state schedule for these support positions, but as we move forward, we need to have some flexibility. Things change day to day with this virus and its spread, and it's important that we have people that are available to work weekends if necessary, to help keep up with those changes as we go. To support all of the positions and help us to make sure that we're routing calls, complaints, follow-up correspondence with employers through both the surveillance and the rapid response programs, preparing follow-up letters that go along with that. There's a lot of correspondence that goes back and forth between employers and our OSHA Bureau to make sure that we're following up on employer actions to put in place those protective measures through the state's COVID safe practices that the Economic Review Council put together 2 months ago, to make sure that that correspondence is all done timely, that we're tracking it. It's important that we have those support positions to help support. And this is essentially an entry-level type of position at a pay band 40, again, with some flexibility on the location. There is a lot of financial support that will need to go along with this effort as well. As you heard already, we'll be accepting grant funds from another agency, flow-through agency. It's important that we work with that agency, Workforce Solutions, as well as our own Environment Department's Administrative Services Division's Financial Services Bureau to coordinate financial purchasing, reporting of payroll time, to make sure that all the activities and the equipment and materials and support costs are all in accordance with Workforce Solutions flow-through grants, as well as state procurement rules. And so we're looking for a financial specialist operational position at a pay band 50 that can help us to handle those tasks. We're also looking for a basic level attorney position, an attorney 1 position that would report to our Environment Department's Office of General Counsel. This position, again, will be dedicated to COVID-19 activities for the OSHA Bureau, supporting the Bureau's efforts in working with employers who might have their own counsel with questions or concerns as to how the state is rolling out these programs. And it's important that we have an attorney that can work with corporate counsel in working through any issues that might arise. If we receive pushback from employers, for the most part, employers are right on board with what we're trying to do so far in this effort. Occasionally, we will come across employers that are more reluctant or simply unwilling to engage in the activities that we're trying to engage in. And so it's possible that this attorney position would need to represent us before state courts and commissions if necessary, as well as providing us with legal support and opinions regarding matters that are unique as we gain information regarding the virus. Confidential medical information on how we should best handle those things. And this position would be closely supported by the Office of General Counsel as it's reporting to us. So it has those resources available to it. Next position is an IT position, and we do have on the line with us a person from our department's Office of Information Technology to briefly explain this position for you. Chris, if you're available, if you'd like to please provide some information on this position.
Hello, my name is Chris Leeson. I'm the Desktop Support Supervisor for the Environment Department. So this is a IT end user support 2. This will be providing both desktop and help desk support for the OSHA Bureau, basically making sure people's passwords are working, their software. We use Windows 10, we use Office 365 for functional, they're connected to the network, or if they're having problems, we report it to our other technical groups in our division on there, or to the appropriate supervisor if necessary. So this will be providing us basically the desktop level support for the OSHA Bureau and there for at the desktop level and there, and troubleshooting, installing, and so forth like that.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Now I'm going to turn this presentation over to Stephanie Sloman, who is with our Environment Department's Human Resources Bureau. Talk a little bit about the personnel matters related to this position. Stephanie?
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Sloman. Can everybody hear me? Okay, just want to make sure that my audio is working. So our agency is right now we're 100% teleworking, which is fantastic because it gives everybody the opportunity to be able to work anywhere in the state. There are occasions that you may have to drive into an office location that may be Santa Fe, Albuquerque, it could be Las Cruces, it could be anywhere. We have offices around the state, but for the most part, our employees are working from home, and we have managers that are very flexible, understanding that working from home comes with unique challenges, and we help provide individuals their proper equipment so that they can telework. And we ask our employees, when we give you a computer, a headset, a telephone, those types of things, the things that you might want to keep in mind is having a dedicated workspace at your residence, to have a good internet connection, and cell phone service is very, very important. So depending on where you live in the state of New Mexico, that can be important. And also to have work hours that are uninterrupted is beneficial. These positions, I want to go back on all of the slides and let you guys know the slides said that these positions are up to 18 months, but that's actually not accurate. It'd probably be up to a year. So it could be up to 18 months, but most of them are within a year's time frame. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. So there is a slight discrepancy on the slides. We apologize for that. So yeah, it says 18 months on the slides. Let me go ahead and have you go forward if you don't mind, Bob. One more, yes. So the state of New Mexico has awesome benefit packages. We have medical, dental, life insurance, up to $50,000 of life insurance that we pay as the state of New Mexico for you as an employee. And that's paid by the employer. We offer the medical and dental, it's split between you, the employee, and the employer, the premiums. You can find what those rates are on the GSD website if you Google GSD New Mexico. Another thing that we offer is pay differential for Spanish speakers, paid sick and annual leave, and a lot more. We have the Employee Assistance Program, not just for you, but for members of your family, which is very helpful. If I can have you do the next slide, Bob. Thank you. To apply for these positions, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the state personnel website. I recommend going to Google and just Google SPO New Mexico, SPONM. But here we list the site for you, spo.state.nm.us. On the right-hand side of your screen, it'll say job opportunities. You click on that. Then you're going to select new employee job opportunities. You can select the New Mexico Environment Department, and you can select which position you're interested in, and you can select multiple positions that you're interested in. If you feel that you meet the minimum calls for multiple positions within our agency, please apply for as many positions as you can. And of course, you're going to click apply for this job on the actual job application when it pulls up. Okay, next slide, please. Work history, the things that you're going to need available for you as you're applying, have your transcripts, your work history, include the dates, 3 professional references, and we ask that you provide us the phone numbers, professional licenses, military documents, anything as the employer that we would need to know in order to do kind of a mini background and check on you guys as quickly as possible. And then this particular side, I'm going to give you the contact numbers for, contact email addresses for the staff. Robert Genoway was the speaker. Myself, Stephanie Stolman, I'm down at the bottom. I'm the Acting Human Resource Bureau Chief. Marie Montoya is the IT Director, and that's who you would contact regarding any IT positions. And Jennifer Hauer is for the attorney position. So those are our email addresses in case you happen to need them, but you can refer any email that you have to myself, which is Stephanie Stolman at state.nm.us. Please don't hesitate. I can always funnel your question on to any one of our staff members. Okay, and I'm going to turn it back over to Bob in case anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, so a rundown of the Bureau, what we do, what these positions are about, how to apply. We've gone over these things, and got just a couple photos here on our question page, shows you a little bit about what we do. Our inspectors are dedicated and are out, and we want them to be out working in the field to try and prevent COVID and other hazards to employees. We want you to come in and work for us so that we can have a wider effect on COVID while we're still trying to protect employees from all of these other hazards, falls and electrical hazards and chemicals and noise and any hazard you can think of in the workplace. But right now, COVID is front and center, and we need to tackle this. So I'll open up to questions, and I think we have some mediators, facilitators on standby to take questions and route them to us. So I'll turn that over to the question process.
Thank you, Stephanie and Bob. We currently don't have any questions. If anybody would like to ask a question, please feel free to type a question into the question module, and we will voice your question to Bob and Stephanie. Okay, we do have one question. Do you need to reside in the location listed on the website? For instance, the IT End User Support 2, location statewide says Santa Fe.
No, this individual could work anywhere in the state. And so their home office, their home base would be in Santa Fe. So if they have a staff meeting, they may have to go up to Santa Fe to meet for a particular staff meeting on that day. But no, they could work remotely at any location.
And we have a request for the slide with the contact information again. And there's also a question about whether the video will be available. This video will be available on the NMDWS YouTube channel, and that will be posted later today. There is a question asking, what will the teleworker do?
So that will depend on what position you apply for. When you go in to apply for the position, it gives you a job description as to what the work will entail. And for some individuals, they will be teleworking and they will be doing inspections. They may be going into the field. For some of the positions, they will be working remotely from their office. It depends on which position you apply for.
Yes, so for the technical positions, initial training we'll be training those people up to be able to remotely work one-on-one with each employer in those two different areas of activity that I talked about. Rapid response, getting information from employers to make sure that those different steps of rapid response are completed, or surveillance, or some of both. It's going to be somewhat dependent upon what needs arise as we proceed with this pandemic. Then at some point, once they're trained up to a level where, and we think we need, or we see that we need field activities to be engaged in, then some of those workers, some of those technical workers would be potentially traveling to work sites to follow up on some of these activities, to make sure that that the activity or the actions that we're working with employers on are actually being performed. It's possible that will include actual inspections under our OSHA inspection procedures. Those are for the technical positions. For each of the support positions, if there's a specific question related to how that works, I'm happy to try and answer that.
Thank you. Bob or Stephanie, how quickly will you conduct interviews once an application is received?
So we are hoping to conduct interviews starting next week. And then we should have somebody hired within just a few days. Once the paperwork goes to state personnel and everything gets approved, we should make a job offer fairly quickly to somebody. That is the plan. But next week we should start having job interviews. We will start scheduling them with employees if we find applicants that meet the qualifications.
Thank you. And the next question I have is, will overtime be required?
So again, that will depend on the particular position. And I would say if you are an individual that may be doing contact tracing or contact investigations, those positions, it may be required at times because the spread of COVID-19 is so important for us to stop.
And I can tell you that up to this point in time, and you've seen, if you've watched Governor Lujan Grisham's press conferences or looked at any news lately, you know that over the past several weeks there has been a significant rise in the incidence of positive cases in the workforce, and so it's difficult to predict where that will go. Obviously, our intent is to stop that. But I can tell you right now that our staff that are working on these positive case responses are working long hours, including weekends.
Thank you. Stephanie, will interviews be conducted via Zoom?
Yes, and I apologize. I didn't explain well enough during my portion of the presentation. Yes, we will send links to individuals. It may be conducted through different applications, but they will be possibly over the telephone. It could be through Zoom, WebEx. We have several different options we can offer candidates depending on their connectability to the internet or phone service. For some areas, it may have to be a telephone interview, but we will keep to social distancing and hold the interviews remotely.
Can I just add to that question, Stephanie and Bob? I think it's important to mention that we're going to keep all of these positions on a continuous posting. So, yes, we want to start interviewing people next week. Yes, we want to try to get some people in the door next week. But if we don't get enough people qualified to fill these positions, we will keep the postings active and the ads active so people can continue to apply. So you can apply for these jobs until they are all filled up. And whether that takes us a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we're going to keep looking for the right people, and we'd encourage you to keep checking back. If you know someone who in 2 weeks says, oh man, I just lost my job, what do I do? And you think they might be a good fit for one of these jobs, it would definitely be worth checking out. The other thing I want to reassure everybody about is that those great OSHA pictures were all taken before the pandemic. Nobody on our team is getting that close to anybody without masks right now. But I love that those pictures show the great camaraderie and support of this team. And for all of these positions, you know, there are other experienced workers in similar positions, experienced supervisors, and we are going to do our best to fit you onto this team with all the support you need to succeed in this position. And like all state agencies right now, we are all working remotely, and we are able to conduct almost all of our meetings with all our staff remotely. So, and we, of course, there are businesses that could have, you know, an outbreak or an inspection needed all over the state of New Mexico. So the best outcome for us is to get people wherever they are willing to do the work. And we are going to be able to make virtual meetings happen, virtual training happen. We have already a series of slides and training to get you on board our agency, let you know how the agency works, how your benefits work. We do all that by virtual training and videos. So I think that that's going to answer everybody's questions. And let's check in with our hosts whether we have some more.
Deputy Secretary Pruitt, thank you. No, at this point, we do not have any more questions.
Anything anybody want to add?
Yeah, Deputy Secretary, thank you for filling in on that information. Yeah, it's important that people know that we, as an OSHA Bureau, take it very seriously to be an example in protecting our own workers. And as we bring people in, you know, again, we have all the programs in place that are necessary to make sure that our workers are protected as we're trying to protect workers out across the state. So we would, of course, if anybody that gets trained up to a level of doing on-site work is also going to be trained on the use of proper protective equipment use, including respiratory protection, so on and so forth. We have all those programs in place, and protection of our own workers is comes first, and as an example, as we're out there trying to protect other workers.
And I just want to add, if today's presentation you maybe thought this position wasn't for you, but you know somebody who it might be a good fit for, please send those people our way. Please send them to the state personnel website, and we would be happy to review their applications as well.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary. Thank you, Robert, Stephanie. Thank you, Chris. If y'all don't have anything else, we'll go ahead and end the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you all. We're really looking forward to have some good applicants. I'm very excited to bring some people on board to help us with this effort. Thank you.